Hey everybody! Welcome to the Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Burrs,
Gabe Shamus,
and it's the final countdown. Yep. Final countdown is back, and we're doing it for Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. These two boxing legends are going to get together in a couple of weeks. Well, Pacquiao is a legend. Thurman is a legend in the making.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. And we're going to crack open some beers here. Yep.
I guess it was done with his teeth.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of used to using your teeth. I mean, you use your teeth almost on an everyday basis.
What was that? All right, here. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, we don't have any clean glasses, so we gotta drink out of these mugs. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. All right.
Now, of course, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. That is the main event. That's going down July 20th on pay-per-view.
Yep.
Yeah, PBC, Fox, and this has the potential of being a welterweight title classic.
Nice.
And you look at these two fighters. I mean, they say styles make fights, and Thurman, he's a power puncher.
Right.
His footwork is okay, but not as fast. I don't think as fast as Manny Pacquiao. And Keith Thurman, he's beaten the best. He's beaten Sean Porter. He's beaten Robert Guerrero. He's beaten Josito Lopez, and he's beaten Danny Garcia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got Manny Pacquiao, who of course is a legend. He's beaten who's of boxing, beaten Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto. He's beaten Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez, Adrian Broner.
Mm-hmm.
He is and of course Sergio Martinez.
Right.
So, I mean, we're looking at a great matchup here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure fans everywhere are psyched.
Oh, of course they're psyched because, once again, Manny Pacquiao, there's always the talk of, is he going to retire? Is he not going to retire?
Right, indeed.
And I am of the opinion that, that any fight from now until he does an official announcement, it could be the last time we ever see Manny Pacquiao in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So yeah, end of an era type stuff. You really gotta juice it for what it's worth, I guess. Right.
Well, yeah, and of course, people have said that, well, this could be his last fight, or that he should retire if he loses to Thurman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's more of a wait and see sort of scenario,
right?
Because Pacquiao, he's still got the hand speed, he's still got the footwork. Now, the major concern, of course, I brought this up in many fights,
right?
With Manny Pacquiao, is that the power is gone. Manny Pacquiao, when he was younger, and also in the lighter weight divisions, along with that hand speed, he had power. I mean, he put guys on his ass. I mean,
right.
You look at the Miguel Cotto fight. I mean, Miguel Cotto got whooped like a runaway slave. Oh, massa, I promise I'll never roam again. And then, of course, since then, I mean, we've seen that power, but we haven't seen him knock anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, he knocked out Matisse. And then in the Broner fight, we thought, okay, the power's back. He might knock out Broner. And it looked like for a while he was going to knock out Broner in the fight.
Right.
But then, of course, it led to a decision.
Oh, okay.
Now, Keith Thurman, he's a lot younger, a lot stronger.
Right.
And he's got power. They don't call him one time for nothing. I mean, he hits you one time, boom, you go right on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Not always a knockout, but he's always looking for the knockout.
Right, exactly. You gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, and Thurman, he says that he wants to do to Pacquiao what Pacquiao did to Oscar De La Hoya. He wants to retire him. Mm-hmm. And he even said he's been talking a lot of trash in the press conferences and leading up to the fight.
Right.
Thurman, he says, we signed a rematch clause, but after this fight, he's not going to want a rematch.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, we'll see though. I mean, it's always tough talk, in the conferences and stuff. But you got to see how it actually plays out, in the ring, right?
Absolutely, because, and the thing is, as much pressure as it is on Thurman, I mean, on Pacquiao, I think there's more pressure on Thurman to win because look at it. He's a young man.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a piece of the WBA championship, but he's fighting on a much bigger stage. This is pay-per-view. This is pay-per-view. He's never fought on pay-per-view. So not only is this his first pay-per-view fight, this is his first time main eventing a pay-per-view fight. And, I talked about this with my friend Kenny Benesh when we hung out, is that when you're on pay-per-view, the lights are brighter. It's like you have to bring your A game. I compare it to
spotlight on you, all eyes on you.
Yeah, and this is like, I mean, not that when you watch a fight on Fox or Showtime or the now defunct HBO, it's not like the whole world wasn't watching.
Right.
But when it's pay-per-view, this is like that's 1 billion times 10. And Thurman, I believe, he has the more pressure. And like I was going to say is, I compare it to being an NFL player. It's like Sunday night football, big lights. Fox NFL Sunday, big lights. NFL on CBS, big lights. But for me, it's Monday Night Football. Because Monday Night Football, it's a tradition going back to the 60s, the 70s.
Right, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's still around. I mean, granted, it's on ESPN and only comes on ABC for local teams, like it'll come on ABC for the Patriots here.
Right.
But, I always say, when you're on Monday Night Football and knowing all the great games and all the great legends that played on there, it's like when you go on Monday Night Football, your game has to be at an A at all times.
Right.
Okay, because this is primetime network. This is this is in the middle of the week. And also your fans, who root for the team, they gotta go to work tomorrow. So you want to, and it might be a job they may not like. So when you win on Monday Night Football, they're gonna go back and go, oh man, you should have seen that game, man. Oh, the team won, baby. Yeah.
Hell yeah. You got to get them pumped. Got to give them a reason to go back on Tuesday.
Yeah, especially if you're dealing with a boss who's a jackass or your
coworkers who won't shut up.
Gabe, is there something you want to tell me?
No, not right now.
Right.
But yeah, all that.
Yeah, exactly. And for Thurman, he has to win on Saturday night on pay-per-view.
Right.
Because he's facing a legend, and also because the welterweight division is really stacked right now. I mean, Sean Porter and Errol Spence, they're going to be fighting soon.
Yeah.
There's talks of Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia. I mean, Danny Garcia had his comeback win, and Mikey Garcia, who is staying at welterweight after losing to Errol Spence, he's trying to get a win. He's trying to stay in the conversation. Stay in the conversation. And I think for a win for Thurman, that means that could put him in line with Errol Spence or Sean Porter, or maybe Danny Garcia. We could see a rematch with Garcia, a rematch with Porter, or we could see a match with Errol Spence. So this is a legacy. This is almost a legacy fight for Thurman.
Right,
Exactly.
Yep.
So Thurman has I think Thurman's the one that has the most to lose going into this fight.
Yeah, I would have to agree on that.
Yeah. Now Manny Pacquiao, he has a lot to lose in this fight as well because because he wants to prove that he could still hang with the young guys. I mean, we saw it in the fight with Broner. Here you go. That he can still hang.
Right.
But of course, Broner, he wasn't on his A game. But this is Thurman. This is a legit fighter.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I know. I mean, and we've talked about it before. But coming for a legend to stay in, for a legend to stay in the game, stay in the conversation, they still have to, show what they got. That they got what it takes. You know what I mean? They still have to show that, and in fact, there's more pressure. Pressure to show it.
Also, we also forgot Terrence Crawford too, the WBO welterweight champion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there have been talks for years of of a Crawford versus Pacquiao fight when they were both on their top rank.
Right.
But now that Pacquiao is under PBC, I mean, like, there's still a chance it could happen. Maybe, maybe not. You know, but because it's the politics. But there's another challenger right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
right now it's it's a stacked division right now. I mean, everyone wants to be recognized as the one true champion right now, and there's a lot of talent at the welterweight division. It's almost reminiscent of the early '80s and the mid to late '90s. Of course, with the '80s, you had Leonard, Duran, Hearns, Pepino Cuevas, Wilfredo Benitez. You had, and in the '90s, there was De La Hoya, Corte, Trinidad, Whitaker. You had all those
people vying for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Title. Yeah, exactly. And you know what else it's like? Fans might have might have a little reaction to this, but it's still an apt metaphor. Gotta say it. It's actually like Game of Thrones too. Everyone vying for the throne.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no matter how that turned out, fans, it's still you still gotta agree. This is like of that epic level.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because there's a lot of champions. We have champions in the welterweight division. In any division in any combat sport, there's divisions, there's champions, but there can only be one king. Like right now in the middleweight division, Canelo Alvarez is the king of that division.
Got it. Yeah.
He's the king of that division, even though he vacated the WBC title. He still has the WBA, the IBF title, and the Ring Magazine title. He's recognized as the undisputed middleweight champion. And also, he's the super middleweight champion as well. Yeah, so he holds two belts at the same time.
Right. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, Canelo Alvarez, he's the king of the middleweights. As for who's the king of the welterweights, it's going to come down to who has the most titles.
Right, indeed.
I mean, Pacquiao and Thurman both fighting to be the undisputed WBA champion. There's the Super WBA title, which Pacquiao holds, and then there's the regular WBA title that Thurman holds.
Yeah.
So, and the winner of that will be the one and only WBA champion in the welterweight division, and it's going to lead towards who gets the next big super fight.
For sure. Yeah, and that's exactly what it's about. Like you said, he's an undisputed king with two belts. As they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And of course, on the undercard of that fight, Mike Lee taking on Caleb Plant for the IBF super middleweight title. That fight takes place on Fox at 6:00. There's also some undercard fights for that one.
Right.
And that takes place right before the pay-per-view. So if you can't watch it, you can watch it on Fox.
Yep.
And, I haven't seen much of Mike Lee, but I have seen Caleb Plant fight. He's a good super middleweight fighter, undefeated. And hopefully with this win, this could lead him to a title shot against the other super middleweight champions. Maybe a fight with Canelo could be in the works. And so I'm gonna go with Caleb here. I want to say because both these guys hit hard. I mean, Mike Lee is actually from light heavyweight. He's moving down to super middleweight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I heard he hits hard too. So I would say Caleb Plant by 8th round knockout.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There's a certified match prediction there.
Yeah. Now, of course, Now, here are the keys to victory for both Pacquiao and Thurman. Now, first of all, for Keith Thurman has to keep the pressure on Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Thurman has to be the pressure fighter. He has to go forward. He has to keep going forward on Manny. And also, Thurman has good head movement, so he has to keep using his head movement as he's going forward.
Right.
Second, he's got to bang away to the body. Yes, Pacquiao has foot speed. He's got that speed where it's like, he moves around, a southpaw stance. He'll fire 3-punch combinations and then go back to his stance. He's like, and then go right back. Bounce around, does that little bounce. jab, jab, pop, 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 go back.
So he takes his opening and then runs and then regroups. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
An interesting strategy.
Yeah, and yes, and of course, Pacquiao has good foot speed. Well, how do you take away his speed? You gotta go to the body. You go to the body, he's not gonna do much. Going in and out and in and out. That's gonna limit his speed. Okay. So Thurman has got to bang away at the body, and set up for head shots, or do the opposite. Go to the head, then go to the body. Because if he keeps going to the head, he'll block. That leaves the body open, and then boom,
underneath.
Yeah, underneath. And when he hits him, he's got to hit him with bad intentions, as Mike Tyson's trainer Customato would say. Bad intentions. Okay, you got to hit him with the intention of you want to not only put him down, you want to break his ribs. You want to rupture his
motherfucker out.
Yeah, exactly. Rupture his spleen, batter his kidneys, anything. Exactly. And also, he's gonna have to be. He has to be a little patient with Pacquiao, because this could go until later rounds. It's a 12-round fight. But when he sees the opening, go for it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Yes, exactly. Now, the strategy for Manny Pacquiao. One, Pacquiao has to use his jab, use his light quickening jab because he has a good jab.
Yeah.
Second of all, he has to keep using his hand speed. He's got to hit and move out of the way. Don't look for the knockout early. Okay. Yes, if he wants to knock him out, to put the stamp on that victory, he can do that. But he can't just go in head on first. He's got to land 2-3 punch combinations and then get out of the way.
Right.
It's like jab. Jab. 1, 2, 3. Go back and go back to your jab. After the combinations, just go back to your jab. Go back to your jab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Also, Pacquiao cannot lay on the ropes. Okay, Pacquiao has laid on the ropes in several fights and stuff like that. He did it with Cotto to try, because he said he did that on purpose to test out his power.
Right.
I wouldn't do that against Keith Thurman. Okay, Keith Thurman is not Miguel Cotto. Okay, this is Keith Thurman. So therefore, do not lay on ropes. Don't give him any chance to get in this fight.
Right, that makes sense. You only lay on the ropes if you need to, regroup, have some strategy to, punch your way out of it after that. But yeah, you shouldn't, lay on the ropes just to regain power if they're going to use that against you.
Well, yeah, exactly. And also, of course, the power in his hands is gone, but he still has the hand speed.
Right.
With that hand speed, he can still knock him out. He just has to, when he's weakened, and he's got to go for it. It's like Duke said to Rocky before the last round in the fight with Drago. You got to punch and punch and punch until you can't punch no more.
Yep, that makes sense. That's totally it.
Once he starts, he can't stop.
Right, exactly. Which would be hard, but you got to get through it. Endurance is also, the other big key, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once you start, you can't stop. All your strength, all your power, all your load, everything you got.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, I just called the movie.
There you go.
But yeah,
didn't even know it.
Well, yeah, and but that's the other big the big concern. I know I keep going back to this, but it's really true. It's the power of Manny Pacquiao. I talked about this on the Beer and Brawl show, which is still on Facebook. Watch it.
Yeah.
I talked about it on the Beer and Brawl show, Fights and Highlights Volume 3, talking about the Muhammad Ali versus Leon Spinks fight.
Indeed.
By that time, when Ali was fighting, he was in his mid to late 30s. He wasn't the same Ali. He still had the hand speed, but the foot speed wasn't as crisp. It wasn't as fast as it was when he was younger.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Muhammad Ali who beat Sonny Liston, who beat George Foreman,
right,
and who had those 3 awards with Joe Frazier, he beats Leon Spinks. Okay, yeah. But this Muhammad Ali, he didn't have that same knockout power. He wasn't a knockout. He was never a knockout power puncher.
Right.
But he would beat you in combinations, like five punch combinations, and boom, you go down.
Right.
Against Leon Spinks, he'd fire off combinations, but Spinks wouldn't go down.
Right, exactly. And that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. You can put your all into it, but what is your all worth if they can't bring him down?
Well, yeah, because age had caught up to Ali, and also because his reflexes weren't there. I mean,
right. That's the other thing. Reflex, action and reaction. Can you react to what's happening to you quickly enough?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, before the rematch with Spinks, they showed him being interviewed by Howard Cosell, and you can tell in his speech, getting slow and stuff, that he had no business being in the ring. I mean, luckily he won by unanimous decision.
Right.
But still, it was just you can tell that he really should have stopped. I mean, people say he should have stopped after the Frazier fight, the Thriller Manila fight.
Right.
But yeah, maybe he should have, maybe he could have. But I think after the Spinks fight was when he should have stopped right there, because he had, the speed was there, but the reflexes were gone, and he just had no power.
Exactly, and we've said this many times before, but it is also like how you want to be remembered. I think that's the other thing in terms of when should a legend, stop or not. How do you want to be remembered? And can you do it? Can you get up to the plate? They want to remember you punchy with good reflexes, that type of thing. Or at least in your older age, have a good strategy to get through, and maybe one last grand fight, but using the strategy instead of the reflexes. But you've got to think that out. Like, how am I going to, really, really land it and leave that lasting mark when I then step down?
Yeah, you got to know when to stop. Everybody can't be Rocky.
Exactly.
Everybody can't be Rocky or George Foreman. Like the whole the guy's going in for one last time to be champion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good in the movies, and I know we love the Rocky films.
Right.
We love the Rocky movies, and we love Creed.
Of course.
Yeah, I've seen Creed 1 and 2. Have you seen the Creed movies?
Not Creed 1, maybe. But, no.
Yeah, but every fighter can't be like that. You got to know when it's time to leave the ring.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. And whoo, man.
It's a torture, yeah.
Yes, it is. It is.
Move our fan here. Yeah.
Yeah, it is it's as hot as a dominatrix bedroom.
I like that one.
Yeah. And of course, like I mentioned before, this fight has the potential of being one of the greatest welterweight title fights of all time.
Right.
And so for this show, I give you my top 10 greatest welterweight title fights of all time. Of course, being the boxing expert, I've seen a lot of great fights, and so I thought it'd be special, to bring it on here.
Okay, cool.
Number 10, Emil Griffith versus Benny Paret, Part 3. This is more infamous than famous because, of course, Benny Paret died in the ring. I mean, these two... Shit. Yep, he died in the ring, Madison Square Garden, 1961. And I've actually shown this fight several times. You can watch it in my black and white boxing
show.
Yep, episode of the Beer and Brawl Show, black and white boxing. I even showed it in the episode of Emil Griffith versus Benny Paret night.
Okay,
and,
there you go.
Yeah.
Go back and check it out.
Yeah, and this fight actually, this took boxing off worldwide television,
Oh, really?
Yeah, Primetime Network, because it used to be Primetime, in the 50s and the 60s, and then they took it off after the death. Right there. And it also haunted Emil Griffith for a while, too.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and of course, he apologized to his son when his son grew up and said it was an accident, and his son forgave him and stuff. And that was...
Wow. Heartwarming story almost for the movies too.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's done a movie on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be a good Hollywood movie. Number 9, Brendan Forrester versus Ricardo Mayorga, Part 1. This fight put Ricardo Mayorga on the map. He knocked out Brendan Forrester in 2 rounds because...
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, for the IBF welterweight championship of the world. And, of course, Mayorga beat Forrester in a rematch by majority decision. And I always believe Ricardo Mayorga could have been like the next Roberto Duran. He could have been another great champion. But, of course, when there was problems outside the ring, of course, he was famously known for smoking cigarettes. One time he lit up a cigarette after he won a fight, and he would smoke in the press conferences. Yeah,
and I don't want to say it's like a cigarette after sex, but
yeah, but Mayorga, he was, and of course, Mayorga lost to the big names, of course. So he lost to he lost to De La Hoya, he lost to Trinidad, he also lost to Shane Mosley.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and of course, dealing with Don King as well.
Indeed. All right.
Number 8, Oscar De La Hoya versus Ike Quartey. De La Hoya and Ike Quartey knocked each other down. De La Hoya got a controversial decision. He won, and of course, what was more famous was when he was getting beat up was his father, who was managing him at the time. Right. His father was like, "Come on, Dylan, go on." And he was like, but the thing is, if you know anything about the relationship between De La Hoya and his father, it was just, it was a little bit toxic. We all hear the stories of how De La Hoya's father said he was never proud. He never said he was proud of him until after he lost the Trinidad fight. And when he was yelling, it wasn't like, "Hey, you have to win this because I believe in you and because you're my son." It's like, you better win this because I got money and invested and stuff, so you better win. And of course, De La Hoya and his father, they have an okay relationship now, but De La Hoya is good with his kids now. He always tells his sons that he loves them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's a good fight.
Yeah, that's a tough thing if you grew up in the family business like this. Then
yeah. Well, it was still a good fight. Look it up when you can. And Ike Quartey could have been a much bigger fight. I was a fan of his as well. Right. Number 7, Zab Judah versus Floyd Mayweather. Of course, Judah was winning the fight. Then Floyd Mayweather came back, and then Judah hit him low, and then that caused the riot between the two camps. Roger Mayweather got in the ring, and then Judah's trainers got in. There was a riot, and then broke it up. And of course, Mayweather went on to win the fight. And Floyd really did outbox Zab Judah. I mean, these were two of the best welterweight. Two of the best pound for pound fighters at that time. Right. And Mayweather was moving up to welterweight after just not too long ago winning the super lightweight title from Arturo Gatti. Yeah, one of Arturo Gatti's last fights. Right. Exactly. Number 6, Andre Berto versus Victor Ortiz won. And I actually showed this fight also last night on the Beer and Brawl show. And it was a good slugfest, good back and forth. Victor knocked down Berto in the second round. The first round, and then Berto came back, knocked him down the second round, and then later on in the fight, knocked each other down in the same round. Of course, Victor got the unanimous decision. They had a rematch, and Berto would win the rematch. And actually, Andre Berto now, he's going to be fighting in August.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah, he says he's fighting now for paydays, and I kind of respect it, but I still think if it gets to the point where you're just fighting for a payday in boxing or MMA, it's time to get out.
Right. Okay.
Number 5, Manny Pacquiao versus Miguel Cotto. We've talked about this fight, and
yes, indeed.
Yep, Cotto got an ass whooping in this one. I mean, Manny Pacquiao really did school him, and of course, we even talked about this in an earlier episode of When Should a Fight Be Stopped.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it was so bad that Trinidad's wife and younger son had to leave ringside.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that, bringing your family to ringside, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
I mean, oh God, yeah, when it gets real bloody, gotta run out the aisle,
Yeah, and of course, many people thought that was the end of Cotto, but of course, eventually he would keep on fighting, would eventually winning the middleweight championship, would win the WBO super welterweight title, and then eventually would retire.
All right, nice. So, are you splitting this up and doing?
I got
doing
four.
Batman
I got
in
4 more.
between?
I got 4 more to go, man. 4 more. Hey, be
Are you
gracious.
splitting them up and doing Batman in between?
No, man. It's a countdown. It's a countdown.
We have a difference of opinion sometimes. I think
Yes.
that would have been a better broadcasting strategy.
Yeah.
So fine.
Well, think of it as MTV TRL. You don't stop in the middle of the countdown and stuff.
Okay. Whatever.
Number 4, Wilfred Benitez versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard, of course, won his first welterweight title. And of course, after the Olympics, he was already main eventing before he won his first title. This is a great fight, great strategy fight, and actually the anniversary of this is coming up in September. And yes, we're going to do an episode of that in September for Ringside, so be on the lookout for that.
Yep. Cheers.
Yep. Number 3, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran, the brawl in Montreal. I've seen this fight dozens of times, and of course, Roberto Duran, leading up to the fight, talked trash to Leonard, talked about his wife, called his wife a whore, and
Oh shit.
yeah,
Those
and
are definitely fighting
yeah. Ray
words.
was trying to box, and then he tried to outslug him, but of course that didn't work. I mean, Ray stood in there and slugged with him, but it wasn't enough, and Duran won the fight by decision. You and I actually saw that fight one time when we were high.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the reaction when the bell rang, when the bell rang, Leonard goes to shake his hand, Duran goes, fuck you. And then he goes, Leonard raises his hand, and Duran pushes, and he's like, no, I win. I'm the winner. And then of course after the fight, he goes like, I was more man than ever. Something like that.
Indeed.
Number 2 is their rematch, the No Moss fight that took place in November of 1980. Their first fight was in June of 1980.
Sweet.
Yeah, and of course, Sugar Ray Leonard outboxed Roberto Duran. He boxed him. That was the old Sugar Ray. He was dancing, moving, doing the shuffle. He poked his chin out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Duran, he said the infamous words, no moss. And a lot of people say that, he just quit because, he was getting outboxed. I personally think it was his stomach cramps because he had to lose a lot of weight after winning the fight, to get back down to 147. He said he drank some hot coffee and orange juice and steaks. And so he was getting diarrhea and shit. So, yeah, I gotta believe that, and it was a great victory for Sugar Ray Leonard. Of course, they had the Uno Mas fight years later in 1989, which was not only the last fight in their rivalry, but also the last fight in the Fat Four rivalry as well.
No way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that's a fight that it's one of the worst fights in their rivalry. So less said about that fight, the better.
Okay.
And finally, number 1, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns, Part 1. The Showdown. Of course, Sugar Ray Leonard went into that fight as WBC champion, Tommy Hearns WBA champion. Hearns was winning the fight earlier, and then Ray came back in the middle rounds. Tommy Hearns came back, and then Angelo Dundee said his famous lines, you're blowing it, son, you're blowing it. And then in the last 2 rounds, Sugar Ray Leonard came back, knocked Hearns through the ropes, and then the referee eventually stopped the fight. And that right there is one of the greatest welterweight title fights, in my opinion.
Nice.
And also one of the best fights in Sugar Ray Leonard's career. I still hold his fight with Hagler at number 1, though. But this definitely comes in a close number 2.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great fight, worth looking up. And next year is the anniversary. We'll definitely do an episode on that.
Totally.
Yes. No, wait, not next. Oh, wait, next year is the anniversary of Duran. Next year is the anniversary of Duran and Leonard. The year later. Okay.
All right.
And now we're gonna get into what Gabe was trying to rush me into. Getting to was the Summer of Batman.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Of course, celebrating the 80-year anniversary of Batman. We're doing subjects on all things Batman and comic book related.
Indeed. Yep.
All ending in September with a Summer of Batman special edition show, which will be coming to the Beantown Beatdown.
All right.
And now we're going to get into it, and this is a really good topic. Will we ever see the Punisher in movies or television again? And this is a good question.
So this is a little bit off of the theme of Batman, by the way.
Well, we said it'd be comic book related and stuff. You know, it relates to Batman events and comic books and superheroes.
Sure.
Yeah, and I asked this because, as we all know, The Punisher was canceled from Netflix. You know,
after what, 2 seasons?
2 seasons.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they're not gonna do anything with The Punisher for years now, but the thing is because we all know that Marvel Comics is now Disney's bitch. And Disney right now, they're really starting to, because they're also going to have like a Marvel like stream coming up soon.
Right.
And, they're doing things with Spider-Man and the X-Men. I mean, they're leaving Deadpool alone. They're going to keep I think they'll keep Deadpool rated R, especially with Part 3 coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
But then I heard, when I was talking with Kenny, I heard that they are canceling the Gambit movie. Gambit,
really?
yeah, Gambit was going to get his own solo movie, and now they canceled that.
Right.
And we were going to get a Deadpool show on FX that was going to be produced by Danny Glover.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yep. And sorry, Donald Glover. Sorry, Childish Gambino.
Exactly. I knew who you meant.
Yeah. So now it's just a matter of will they ever do a movie with the Punisher? Are they ever going to do another Punisher movie? Are they going to bring back a TV series? And if they do bring it back, is it going to be like watered down? Is it going to be like another Is it going to be under Disney? And I mean, well, what do you think?
Right. Well, first of all, it's hard to see where exactly Marvel goes from here. By the way, I mean, we had the big four Avengers movies, and it's like after all of that, where it ties in so many of the characters, it's like where exactly do they go?
Yeah, but Avengers is PG-13. Same thing with Spider-Man.
True.
And it's like my head is saying my head is saying yes, but my heart is saying no. And I'm saying it's saying no because
in terms of, do you think it would have to be our movie if it were a movie?
Well, if they ever do another Punisher product, it might get watered down. It's like Don Tony said on years ago on his podcast, the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. He says Hollywood loves it when you bag it up for the kids. His words, not mine. And this was years ago. He doesn't say fag anymore. Okay.
Understood.
But it's like when you try to make it kid friendly, it's like, okay, yeah, you might get some kids that watch it, but what about the adults? What about the young adults, the people who are teenagers who love the essence of a character?
Right.
And you just water it down so you can have children watching for merchandise reasons. And they've done that with almost every superhero, Marvel, DC, and it's like we don't want you to camp it up.
Yeah, indeed, and that's actually why we were talking about Deadpool. That's actually why I'm glad that that Deadpool is R, and I would and I hope that I do hope that it stays that way, even if the third one is the last one. Also the thing I was going to say is that with the Punisher is that honestly I don't think it will be a movie, but I can see maybe a TV show since they did have the 2 seasons of Netflix.
Well, if it's a TV show, but if it's a TV show, then it's like it's going to be on. It depends on what kind of like network it's going to be on, because it's like if it's on like an ABC, NBC, Fox. Well, of course, 20th Century Fox is also has Marvel. They're all under the umbrella of Disney.
Right.
So it's like, are they gonna like camp it up? They would camp it up for Primetime Network. We wouldn't get the same violence and gore and sex like we did on the Netflix series.
True. But it's possible. If it were HBO or Showtime, something like that.
Well, I can see. Well, 20th Century Fox. Also, that means FX. Yeah, they could do it on FX.
Okay.
They can do it on because cable channels like FX, USA Network, TNT, TBS, they're doing, they drop F-bombs, there's sex scenes and stuff like that. But um, but if it's on like regular primetime network television, and you're gonna water it down, then it's gonna be like no.
No, I get that. So yeah, I hope it wouldn't be on one of those networks. But if it is allowed to be what it is, which should be it should be close to R-rated, then then I think we will see it, and maybe HBO, maybe Showtime, and maybe FX.
Well, yeah, yeah, there's a chance it could be on HBO too. Well, then again,
They're not looking for something else with all the fans trying to leave them.
Well, yeah, HBO is going to be launching the Watchmen series that's coming in August.
Okay.
Yep, and of course, Don Johnson is going to be in there as well. Yeah, so to be honest with you, like I know what the Watchmen is about. I never really got it. I didn't see the movie. I heard a little bit of the comics, and I don't personally get the Watchmen, but maybe I'll check out the HBO series just to see what it's like and stuff. What have you?
Yeah, but anyway, the point with that is only to say that that there is room for the Punisher to come in on something like that later on.
Well, yeah, but also my thing is, because now that Marvel's under the umbrella of Disney, just like 20th Century Fox, it's gonna be like Marvel's gonna put out more stuff that's more friendly, more stuff that's more PG-13 and stuff. That means we're gonna see more X-Men, we're gonna see more Spider-Man, we could see another Captain America. They're done with Iron Man.
America's ass. Sorry, I had to throw it in there.
They're done with Iron Man. As far as a Nick Fury solo movie, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, well, it's one of those never say never sort of things, because Samuel L. Jackson is always in those movies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
yeah,
so that's one of those like never say never. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Of course, they canceled the Gambit solo movie,
which makes me, what I say about not having it, the Punisher not having its own movie more viable, more likely, I think.
Well, the thing is that there's been Punisher movies out, and they didn't really do all that well financially at the box office.
Right.
And the Punisher '89 film, that was in the '80s. I personally liked it. That's like a guilty pleasure for most people because it's Dolph Lundgren, and it really is a good movie.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of action films.
Right.
The one they did with Thomas Hayden Church and Thomas Jane and John Travolta. That one was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. Now Punisher Warzone, the last one they did, that one kicked fucking ass. That kicked ass.
Nice.
Granted, it wasn't financially, it wasn't all that great. It wasn't a box office hit, but it was still a great movie.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess we'll see. Obviously they're going to make their choices about it, but but especially like Marvel and those things, they have their hands full at the moment.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you've heard me talk about this before. I know it. Well, let's face it. I am a capitalist. I do want money, and I do understand. At the end of the day, a business is a business.
Right.
And
I knew you were going to say
well,
that.
Yeah, because
I was going to say that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Well, yeah, because and you can give your opinion on this after I'm done with this, but we live. Me and Gabe, we live in the real world. We know that sometimes, as much as we love a movie, sometimes it doesn't always relate into box office success. Yeah. But also, at the end of the day, a movie has to make its money back because they're given a budget to do a movie. Therefore, they have to make it back. It has to be a financial success. And it's not just the actors, the directors, and producers. There's also the makeup artists, the lighting team, the caterers.
The grip, whatever they do.
Yeah, the grip, the costume designers, the stunt doubles, the special effects people.
Yeah.
It's a
whole team.
Yeah,
whole village. Really.
Yeah, it really is. And there's also these production companies, they have quarters, and that means certain things are done at a certain time. They have to make their money at a certain time. They have to hit their marks. So if they don't hit their marks, then that's a problem, and then to nobody gets any money.
Right.
So that's why it's a business. Whether it's movies, whether it's a sports organization or television, or even with our business, even though we're trying to get it up, I'm talking to financial managers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're in business to make money. And as good as it is, and as good as the cult following is, if it doesn't make its money back, then there won't be a business. Anything you want to say?
Right. So I agree with that point, and I understand. I guess I would say though that I feel like sometimes some movies are actually made just for the money, or like oh well, this was good before, so let's try it again. That's where I don't agree. I don't think it should be the decision on whether or not to make a movie or how to make a movie should be based on the money. And just because it was good before, it doesn't necessarily mean you should do a sequel, a third, a fourth. You know what I mean? So that's where I think Hollywood can go wrong sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing could be said of the Batman movies when Tim Burton was directing it.
Right.
It's like
bringing it back to Summer of Batman.
Yeah, because Batman '89, of course, it's the anniversary of that movie, and also the album with Prince that we're gonna talk about soon.
Okay.
After Batman '89, it was a success. They were going to do Batman Returns, and Tim Burton, he made it more darker with the Penguin and the Joker.
Right.
And it was financially a success, but people complained about, it's too dark for kids. When they said, look, we never intended it to be for children. Okay,
right.
It was supposed to be for everyone.
Right.
And of course, it affected them, their sales of the Happy Meals from McDonald's, because when McDonald's found out how dark the movie was, they pulled out. I mean, they had the Happy Meal toys, but then they pulled out, and parents complained about it, the dark undertones. But also, if you know Tim Burton, Tim Burton, he did the Pee Wee Herman movies, and those were light. Yeah, those were light films, and then
ever since then,
some are light, some are dark. The last light movie he did was Dumbo, which he reunited with both Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito from Batman Returns.
Indeed, yeah.
And because of that, because of all the complaints, the Warner Brothers, they were feeling the pressure, and they said, okay, look, for Batman 3, we're going to take you off. We're not going to let you direct it. Which was a complete and utter bad decision, because the Schumacher Batman Forever, we saw the bat nipples and toned down and shit. I mean, that was financially successful. Batman and Robin sucked motherfucking ass, and I will say this to my dying day, and I have proof of it. It was a financial flop, and Schumacher should never, ever, ever direct a Batman movie again. Or any superhero movie, for that matter.
Indeed.
Yeah, but that goes to show you what happens when you try to, again, Don Tony's words, his words, not mine, when you try to fag it up for the kids. And I guess you'll probably have something to say about the fag it up for kids.
Yes, I will. But,
no, go ahead. You can speak your mind, man. Hey, go ahead.
Exactly. All right. So I mean, I understand that was what he said at the time, that's not an appropriate phrase. We don't have to keep going into this. That's not an appropriate phrase. Don't fucking say it. Some facts can kick your ass. But continuing on.
Yeah. But I just think that with entertainment, there's a time for family entertainment. There's some things that should be for for kids. Some things should be for kids and all that stuff, but everybody doesn't have to be Disney. Everyone doesn't have to be Disney or Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
That's why there's an Adult Swim, which is part of Cartoon Network, because now we can get the adult theme cartoons. That's why you have the Japanese anime, and you have the Aqua Teens and Robot Chickens and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
not to mention Rick and Morty.
Yes, of course, Rick and Morty as well. And also the same thing also with WWE. WWE. Right. There's some good wrestlers out there. Becky Lynch is awesome, and Ronda Rousey's awesome. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, but when you keep it for kids, keep it PG, and it's all for the kiddies and putting smiles on their faces.
Right. Then
the ones who used to watch wrestling back in the day, like us, the Attitude Era, then we get turned off from that shit.
Exactly, and I think it also goes to trying to speak to too many audiences at once. I think that's the other thing that we're talking about. It's trying to make it too broad an appeal that it doesn't appeal to as many people actually, because people on both sides peel off. So you're trying to speak to too many audiences, make it too friendly all across the board.
Yeah, you're trying to please too many masters.
Right.
It's like masses. It's like I don't know if you ever heard the saying, if you try to please everyone, you're going to wind up disappointing everyone.
That makes sense. Yes, it does.
Yeah, exactly. So, Marvel, DC doesn't really give a fuck about kids. They put out some children cartoon shows on Cartoon Network and all, but they know to separate between children entertainment and the adult entertainment, like the Batman animated films that are on DVD and Blu-ray, and some of the movies that they're coming out with the Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Moss, and Tiffany Haddish, the Suicide Squad films, Birds of Prey, and also the new Batman movie that's coming out. They're PG-13, almost rated R. Right. They know that that's not for kids. It's like, hey, look, if your kid's going to watch this, enter at your own risk.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not too worried about pleasing the children and the families. Okay,
right.
They don't care. They don't really care that much about a corporate sponsor or a Happy Meal. Mm-hmm. Now, well, of course, nowadays having a Happy Meal for a toy, it's like you really don't need it. Mm-hmm. Or like or just what I said.
Right.
Now, do they want it when at the end of the day? Of course. But if it doesn't happen, okay, fine, it doesn't happen. The ones who do like it, the majority that we're trying to get to, we're going to focus on those people, and whatever happens with the families happens. If they don't like it, fine. We got to put on our big boy pants, or in Gabe's case, his panties, and we have to, and we gotta go on about our day, business as usual.
Exactly. All right.
That's a good note to end on. We're gonna get off I'm gonna get off my soapbox. You've been off your soapbox for the last 5-10 minutes. So there you go. There you have it. Countdown to Showdown. Next weekend we're doing Ringside. That's gonna be live at 4:00.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do the first ever Ringside triple feature. Gonna have Jack Dempsey versus Jess Bullard. That's the anniversary of that. Okay. Also, the anniversary of Mike Tyson versus Carl the Truth Williams. Right. And we're having a bonus kickboxing match. So we're going to be making history. First ever triple feature.
Triple feature.
Yeah. On Ringside. We've done a lot of double features. Now we're doing a triple feature. And then after this, we're going to go back to the single fights for a while.
All right.
So that's it. Like, subscribe, and also tune into the Facebook channel. Mm-hmm. And also next week I'm not doing Beer and Brawl show, but I will be back after next week with Tyson Holyfield night for the best of the heavyweights.
All right. So
from Beantown to Yorktown, this is the Beantown, Matthew Bars saying Excelsior!
Woo!
Rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yes.